All right, y'all, so we back with some more mysterious videos that will blow your mind. This one here is what they captured in the desert. Shocked the world. So we're going to check out some new desert discoveries. So if you're new, you know what to do. Hit that subscribe button, join the family, and hit that like button, man. And let's check this out.
What does the word desert mean? It means abandoned place, which is spot on for these unusual places.
I hear desert, I think dry, just dry automatically.
They're characterized by their lack of rainfall. They often receive fewer than 10 inches of rain per year. They have dry soil, little to no surface water, and rapid evaporation. They're so parched that rain evaporates before it reaches the ground. Yet other deserts can be freezing.
Dang.
Cold deserts are areas that have ice.
I've never heard it put that way before. Like, it's so dry, so hot that the rain evaporates before it touches the ground.
Or snow. Hot deserts are the ones that stay hot. So what's up with these sandy places? 15 most shocking things captured in the desert. Fish River. What they captured in a desert shocked the whole world. In general, the water flow of the river carries the aquatic beings dwelling in it. However, this video shows the shoal of fish has enchanted the river, for which it's now following them. Here we bring such a video that will leave you surprised and will force you to scratch your head twice to understand whether the event is natural or man-made. As seen in the video, a shoal of fish is seen making its way on the desert sand. While the shoal of fish is leaping ahead, the water is following its path. Of course, rain is the prime source of water in a desert, which is quite rare. The desert dwellers are dependent on groundwater. Spring-fed lakes and oases are the other sources of fresh water.
See, we ain't even got to go to another planet for alien activity, bro. It's happening right here on our own planet.
However, it's rare to find a river in a desert. So what if you find a river of fish in such a case?
River of
Since
fish.
time unknown, several incidents have come to the fore that are jaw-dropping, leaving everyone astonished. Nature has a bucket of surprises that will leave you and anyone amazed. Despite being natural phenomena, several events are mind-boggling and will take a few minutes to be understood. It turns out this river of fish is most likely the overflowing of a fish estuary nearby. There's going to be a whole lot of fish frying in the sun after this. Eagle Mountain Ghost Town. We haven't gotten into the nitty-gritty of our list yet, but we're pretty sure that we already know you should have gone into the desert with any sort of expectation other than it's hot. Because there comes a point when you're walking through the desert, you tend to realize that it's not anything that you're prepared for. You may think you know what's coming, but then you're here with a curveball and stumble upon a little town that shouldn't even be there. Maybe you think it's a mirage, or maybe you go to check it out. Either way, you still find it pretty unbelievable to be sitting out there in the middle of nowhere.
This is definitely an abandoned ghost town.
That leads us to the Eagle Mountain Ghost Town. If you follow us, you know that we love a good ghost town. So let's get into it. It used to be a renewable energy site, and it lies 13 miles north of Desert Center in California. But now it's just fenced off. Every day the case is a little bit more, and the only one to visit it are small security staffs that watch over it. There's one building that's still in use on Eagle Mountain, and it's the Eagle Mountain School, which is located right outside the fenced area. It provides education for local children. It does look like a desolate town of the Breaking Bad or a show like that, but unfortunately for the people who still live there, it's all too real. Mysterious etchings. No, okay, maybe we should backtrack a little bit. When it comes to the desert, there are a few things that you can expect besides the heat. Maybe you can expect a cactus, a camel, and a whole lot of sand. And that's okay, because even with those expectations, we're still going to come across things that you're going to want to document, maybe even tell your friends about. Because if scientists and researchers doing it, then of course the everyday person traversing the desert will also find something extraordinary. But let's talk about something that people have found in the desert that's pretty darn extraordinary, and that's a bunch of mysterious etchings. They almost look like hieroglyphics. These etchings come out of Oregon, and someone finally thinks that they may have solved the mystery of these etchings. It dates back to the year 1990, when a religious etching had mysteriously appeared in the Mickey Mason of Oregon's Alvord Desert. The crazy part is that authorities think that it took thousands of dollars for a lot of men to complete these etchings by using things like high-tech equipment and lasers. And then others think
you got to look at the how the lines are drawn out. It's almost like if you took a sheet of paper and laid it down, like those lines are straight enough to where you would have had to use like a ruler or something. You know what I'm saying? Look at the the lines, the corners, when it gets ready to turn, looks like 90-degree angle, different things, man. And then my mind goes to, okay, what is the goal of these things? What are they trying to do? And I keep going back to somebody's trying to communicate with somebody above, man. Like, you can only see this stuff from high in the sky. Maybe from satellite viewings. You know what I'm saying? Like, so what are you trying to do here? That's what it keeps racking my brain.
That aliens made these hatchings. But now there's a man named Bill Witherspoon who's an artist from Iowa. He claimed that he and his 3 friends along with his 10-year-old son created the symbol themselves. Could it be a hoax? Is a man just wanting his 15 minutes of fame? If he's taking the credit seriously, then the mystery is over. But if the man is lying, then the jury is still out on where these etchings came from. Ancient halloumi. So we've already covered the things that you can expect in the desert, and of course, we've put in a few things that you probably shouldn't expect, but other people have found them. You would think by now we wouldn't have anything to top that, but we do. We have something that people are still kind of scratching their heads at, and it has to do with some pretty old cheese. If you're eating lunch right now, you might want to put that aside for this one, because there's been discovered 26-year-old pots of cheese found at Pharaoh's necropolis.
Oh.
We hope that they weren't saving that for later, because we're pretty sure it isn't edible anymore. But let's take a look at it anyway. What happened was archaeologists found 26,000-year-old cheese in Egypt. The cheese has been found inside pottery and was located in a necropolis near Cairo. We've known about Egyptians making cheese for around 5,000 years already. So this isn't too surprising, but it was surprising to find some actual cheese. Again, hopefully no one eats this anytime soon. Or
I was just about to say, you know, it's somebody who was out there when they found it was like, how much y'all want to bet I'll try it? You know one of them did it, bro.
Ever, for that matter. Mysterious Egyptian structure. From old cheese to mysterious etchings, the desert has proved to be a place that's almost like a very hot flea market. And what do you usually find in flea markets besides the things that you're already looking for? Well, you tend to expect a few bizarre things to be sold, off-the-wall type of things that belong in a pawn shop. And the desert is no exception, because this next one on our list brings us to a very bizarre structure. This makes UFO hunters chatter with each other about what it could be. So if you love UFOs and you love random structures in the middle of the desert, then this one is definitely for you. No one quite knows what this bizarre structure isn't this Egyptian desert. UFO hunters are abuzz and have begun to speculate about it after they spotted it on Google Earth. The complex was spotted in a barren landscape right near Egypt's capital, Cairo. This video was posted online by UFO hunters, and some say it could be a missile launch or a nuclear bunker. So far, no one's proven that just yet. Based on evidence, something's going to come out soon. It just has to, and hopefully it's not aliens.
Whatever they doing in there, you can guarantee they don't want us to know about it.
Crashed UFO. All right, so if you love the last one, then we're going to keep with the trend and keep you happy, because this next one on our list is also UFO based. This time it's not found in Egypt, but it's found in the Arizona desert. People are kind of thinking that a UFO crashed, but we can't be too sure. We're going to have to take a closer look at this next one. It seems like UFOs are always the rage and never fail to capture the imagination of those hoping that there are extraterrestrials in outer space. Does this one prove that there are? It's pretty convincing, actually. There's nothing like a potential crash UFO to get people talking. Plane wreck. The good thing about venturing through the desert, it's not only what you're going to find in terms of the landscape, but also what you're going to find in terms of what's missing. A desert is a huge place, and because of that large area that's covered, it attracts all sorts of things that aren't supposed to be there, things that go missing in the night. And one of those things happened to be a plane wreck. That's right, just imagine traveling through the desert and you can come across a missing plane of all things. Well, that's the reality in this one desert, and you won't believe the type of plane that was found. It just goes to show you that sometimes it's not the small things that are missing, but it's the things that you would think are too big to go missing. The plane was named the Desert War Kitty Hawk, and after several years of people talking about where it could be, but now it's finally located, and it's sitting in the middle of a dilapidated desert. And a man named Jacob Perka snapped a photo of it. People thought it was fake at first, but it was proven to be true. A view from the tail shows that the elevators and rudders are almost perfectly preserved. Now that's a cool find.
Definitely.
Lisa Kov's pentagram. If you followed our list in the past, you'll know that one of our favorite things to cover is crop circles, because here at Google Earth that there's a pentagram and it's located in Kazakhstan. So what's the secret behind it? For years, people have wondered why this pentagram exists. You can only pretty much see it from the sky. The area is known for its archaeological ruins, but there aren't any humans settled there. So needless to say, this is a creepy thing. The predominant theory is that it's attached to ancient Satanist monuments, but the actual answer may be a little bit more boring. When speaking to some researchers, they say it's just an outline of a star associated with...
I thought maybe communication to, maybe trying to communicate to extraterrestrials, but Satanists? No, thank you.
So needless to say, this is a creepy thing. The predominant theory is that it's attached to ancient Satanist monuments.
Satanist monuments. All right. I didn't want to hear that, but now I'm exposed to it. It's going to be hard to try to get that one out the brain.
But the actual answer may be a little bit more boring. When speaking to some researchers, they say it's just an outline of a star associated with a nearby park. But we don't know. It looks pretty pentagrammy to us. What do you think? Let us know in the comments below.
So now that y'all think it's like, see, I told you it was going to bother me. Y'all think it's like sacrifices and stuff like that going on or went on there in that area? Could it be like a burial spot? And that design lets people know that's the burial. See, here we go. Now, I'm telling you, my mind's starting to run.
Giant mystery arrows. As much as we like to cover crop circles on the channel, they're pretty ordinary when you think about it. And in the grand scheme of things, when it comes to mystery, there's been so many crop circles throughout history that they're not as shocking when you come across them. And the fact that we never truly get an answer about them doesn't do us any favors either. Luckily, crop circles aren't the only mysterious things cropping up in the world that make us wonder about their origin and why they exist today. Take, for example, the giant mystery arrows. Usually weapons aren't symbols or pieces on display that can't be explained, but this arrow, that's exactly what's going on here. So these arrows have a purpose though, and they're supposed to guide you across America. They come in handy if you're ever lost on a road trip. They come in at 70 feet each, and you can find them located throughout the country. These exist because the U.S. Postal Service began a cross-country airmail service using Army war surplus planes from World War I. To get the planes and everybody's mails safely across the country, the postman used these arrows. So obviously, if you're on the ground, dates may not work out for you, but if you're in the air flying a plane, look out for the arrows if you get lost. Evaporation ponds. The desert seems like one of those places that's immune to the rest of the world. We mean that in the way that the rest of the world is always progressing and changing in terms of technology. Every day there seems to be some sort of new invention that's replacing our cell phones or laptops. There are times when old technology comes back, kind of like the flip phone. It's that never-ending cycle of ingenuity and creativity that fills the world in an endless manner. But when you get to the desert, it always kind of seems like it's the same thing. Sand and heat. There's not much innovation going on there, but when it comes to these evaporation ponds, it almost seems like something out of a terraforming book. But it's just Mother Nature at its best. So what are these evaporation ponds all about? You can find these beautiful ponds in a desert in Utah. Because of potassium chloride, also known as potash, these colors happen. The water takes on the beautiful blue coloring that almost looks like a water painting. This is accomplished by the miners pumping water from the Colorado River deep underground to reach the potash ore, and it lies around 3,900 feet below the surface. The water then dissolves in soluble potash into a brine, which is then pumped into an underground cavern. It's a scientific ordeal, but the result is this beautiful blue pond. Let's just enjoy that without all the scientific mumbo jumbo. Abandoned Disney train. Well, we already covered the fact that there are things out there in the desert that get lost even though they're gigantic. As we said, you don't often imagine a full-size plane going missing in the desert, but that's been debunked. And now we move on to another piece of huge equipment that's just sitting out in the desert, and this one's a little jolly because it's an abandoned Disney train. It's not the first thing that you expect to see when you're traversing a desert. It's not even the last thing that you expect to see because it's completely random. So why is there?
Yeah, but it makes sense though. You know how much stuff Disney has? We just did a video not too long ago that Disney has just abandoned island, like water park, whatever you want to talk about. They've abandoned it.
An abandoned Disney train sitting in the desert. We're gonna have to figure this one out. Found in the Nevada desert is an abandoned Disney World monorail. So it's not exactly a train, but a monorail. In use, it was one of Disney World's most iconic features. But when they're not with you, they have to go somewhere, and we assume this is where Disney dumped his unused monorail once it was out of service. So, if you don't want to spend a lot of money at Disney World and you still want to ride the monorail, this one doesn't work, but you can at least go visit it. Hills Have Eyes gas station. This one's for everyone and enjoys a good movie reference because we're moving away from the UFOs and the missing planes to Hollywood. Remember when we said that you can find deserts in video games and movies? Well, this also rings through for movie sets because you can also find those in the desert. Imagine walking through the desert and finding the movie set that belongs to The Hills Have Eyes. It's a famous movie that has stamped its place in the history books when it comes to eerie movies. And now you can go visit this spooky set yourself if you're willing to take a trip out to the desert, that is. Because of one gas station, the set is right there to visit. You can find it on a highway out of Worzerzate. From the 2006 horror film, The Hills Have Eyes, you can find everything that you're looking for from that faithful scene where this set is from. And even
see, if y'all go out there, y'all tell me how it was. I ain't going out there. I seen that movie, man. And all movies, in my opinion, are based on some little small hint of fact. So it could be really out there somewhere. I'm cool. No, thank you.
if you haven't seen the movie, it's still a very chilling sight. You can't go to the diner, but you can peek through the windows and see a bunch of old props like soda cans and food. It's crazy to think that there's just left sitting there, and that just makes it all even spookier. Skyscrapers in the desert. Remember when we said that you shouldn't get your expectations up before you go out into the desert? That's because you never quite know what's going to be found out there.
True.
And we're going to prove this theory to be correct because you don't think about there being skyscrapers in the desert. You usually think of skyscrapers being in big cities like Manhattan or Los Angeles, not in the middle of the desert. But again, this is a big misconception because in one desert you can find these skyscrapers and surely see them out of place, but they're disproving a common misconception that there are only cactuses in the desert. It's not super accessible, but it's the old walled city of Shabam. It's surrounded by a fortified wall and dates back to the 16th century. It's one of the oldest and best examples of an urban plant based on the principle of vertical construction, aka skyscrapers. They may not look like the ones that you see in Manhattan, but the concept is there. They rise out of the cliff and have given this city the nickname the Manhattan of the desert. Don't count on seeing any Starbucks there though. Zakistan. Now we take you to a place that stands out on the map. It's a place called Zakistan, and it's unlike any place that you've ever seen. And this is because it's a place that's located in the Newfoundland evaporation basin of the Great Salt Lake in a Great Basin region of North America. Yeah, that's a mouthful, but it's a location that stands out. It's a high desert. During the day in the sun, it's super hot and intense, and the nights are pretty cool. The scary part is this town is far from any water source, so all the water has to be imported. There's little to no wildlife aside from lizards and some snakes. There's not much going on out here, and that's what makes this desert so unique.
And random, just like randomly placed there.
It's the definition of desolate, and we don't recommend visiting.
No.
Jumping Cholla. And finally, we've brought up cactuses a lot on this list because cactus is synonymous with the desert. You can't deny that usually when you think of a desert, cactuses are there right after. But this is a cactus that isn't like many other ones because this one shoots needles. Let's just say you might want to watch out wherever you pass one of these bad boys. That's unless you want to get pricked with a needle. So this species of cactus, which is called cholla cacti, have adapted itself to the locals in elevations of the hot southwestern deserts. You can even find some of them in high elevation forests or even on the rocky steep slopes of foothills. To survive, they need coarse, well-drained soil. They can grow shrubs, trees, or ground plants and can be short as 12 inches. But it's the shooting needles. It's always getting people talking. Because those people stop to admire the fruit, they can easily come in contact with the barbed spines that almost seem to jump out at them. Even the slightest touch can leave these little needles in your clothes. Just when you thought you'd seen all types of cactuses, there comes this one. And there you have it. A desert is a place that isn't just sand and cactuses. There are lots of plains, crop circles, pentagrams, and so much more than just what we all expect there to be out there. Sure, it's always going to be hot, but with that heat comes extraordinary finds that even we scratch our heads at. So the next time you're traversing the desert, keep an eye out for all the crazy things that are out there.
If I'm in the desert, send help. I'm not there by choice. You know what I mean? Send me help. There's no reason I'm there. I'm not trying to discover none. I'm not looking for none. I'm not exploring. No. Somebody put me out there and I need help. You know what I mean? But it is some fascinating discoveries they have found out in the desert, man. And it's truly amazing to see this stuff. This is crazy. Like, this just random spot. Then you got the Hills Have Eyes place and all the different things there. Like, could you, and then a river of fish that's just flowing. It looks like the fish is just, I don't know. That just looked alien-like to me. You know what I mean? This stuff is unexplainable. I'm serious. It is. It is. Some of it is just creepy. But y'all get at me in the comment section, though, man, and let me know what you thought of the video and leave a like before you roll out. It's your boy L. Till next one, I'm gone. Peace.